go. Call to order the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, December 6, 2021 at 6 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. And Mr. Donald Miles, would you lead us with the invocation?
Amen. Father, we just thank you for your many blessings, and we thank you for your goodness in our lives. And Father, we just pray that your blessing would be upon our community, upon this gathering. We pray that you would give our city council and city leaders wisdom and guidance. And then also I pray, Father, that we would continue to place integrity above expediency in all of our matters. And we just ask, Lord, especially in this holiday season and this time when we reflect upon being thankful for our blessings, and then also the Christmas time, which represents so much to our faith and to many of us, and yet there will be many in our families and communities that will be facing what is generally cheerful and happy times with suffering great loss in their families and because of the pandemic and all the other things that are going on. We just pray for your peace and your comfort to sustain us through these difficult times. We pray for, again, your blessing upon this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we're going to go to presentation and proclamations. It's an update on our wet slip permit at Compound Harbor, Sarah Flattery, Bel Air Environmental.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this was something we've been waiting on for a period of time. And you'll recall you asked Bel Air Environmental to begin the renewal, or the re-renewal, I guess we could say, of the permit for the wet slips at Compound Harbor. And Sarah's been working, and Bel Air working on that diligently, and is here to update you on where all of that is.
Hi, good evening. So Gary and I have been communicating, but he thought it would be a good idea to come kind of update everyone else on where we're at. So I've just put together a real brief kind of timeline of things that have happened since we last visited and what's moved forward and where we're at today. So I think in June is when everybody had finally decided to go ahead and move forward with obtaining the permit. Immediately we began coordination with the prior engineers to obtain records. Ultimately in August, so the engineer of record was more than happy to provide those, but after he ran it through the process, because they've been bought out, that firm, they ultimately decided it was not in their best interest to release those files, so we had to start from scratch there. So immediately in August, all of the surveys at Con Brown for environmental were completed. So bathymetry, wetland habitat, seagrass, and oysters were all mapped out there. Began the draft report. End of August, there was the U.S. District Court for the District of Arizona vacated the Navigable Waters Protection Rule, which was a Trump-era rule that now that we've changed administrations, the policies are changing very quickly. So that was set aside, which changed the status of some of the wetlands that are there. So some of the wetlands that were there under navigable waters were written up and would have been viewed as isolated, non-jurisdictional. Now that we've reverted back to prior policy, they've become jurisdictional. So no change. I mean, it doesn't hurt the permit per se, but it does. The write-up and the supporting references and all of that had to be redone, reanalyzed. So that was done. Let's see. So that was September 16th. That because of that decision in Arizona, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers decided that that decision was going to be applied nationwide, and that they were going to then, or they're in the process now of drafting a new rule that's supposed to be out in the next 1 to 2 years. In the meantime, we're operating under 1986 regulations with some regulatory guidance based on some Supreme Court cases that were issued. So fast forward, still drafting the permit on October 21st, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California issued an order vacating and remanding the EPA's regulations implementing Section 401 of the Clean Water Act. So again, the Corps decided to apply that vacatur nationwide. So no Section 401 permits, which includes your 404. So 401 is your water quality certification, which applies to 404 projects that affect state waters. So there was a hold put on permitting that required anything Section 404. As of last Thursday, I understand that the Corps is now going to start moving forward again with applications, and I'm awaiting on confirmation. So on Mondays, which would have been this morning, they have their big Corps meeting. So I expect an update from them tomorrow. So where we're at today, that's it. I mean, the permit application is drafted. We're waiting on the Corps to start moving forward. So we hope to have everything in and in process by the end of this month. Once that goes in, the Corps will do an internal review and put it out for public notice. So one of the things we obviously want to assure is that we proactively address all of the concerns that have been raised through past permitting efforts by members of the general public. So anything they were concerned about, waste and water quality for liveaboards, the prior permit absolutely required no liveaboards be allowed within the harbor. So we're just working to address and say all of those things will still remain in place to proactively overcome those objections that were faced in the past. The public, so that would be the state agencies as well as members of the general public, will have 30 days to comment on that application once it goes to public notice, and then we'll have 30 days to address those concerns either by altering the project if they're reasonable requests and things that can be addressed, or rebutting those and saying, why they've already been addressed or don't apply to the project. And then that's it. Once all outstanding concerns are addressed, Corps issues permit. So, yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you. You were talking about the very first one, Arizona, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How does that affect our wetlands ordinance? I mean, we spent months and months and months writing a wetlands ordinance for the city of Aransas Pass to ensure that building was going to be safe and we weren't disturbing the wetlands. How is that going to affect it?
So the federal wetland, so you can have wetlands regulations as a city or state that are more stringent than the federal government. If they're less stringent, then they're still held to the federal standard. So I'm not intimately familiar with yours. I mean, I'd be happy to review them, but the major change in the two rules is when you get into the nuts and bolts of the regulatory definitions of how they defined adjacent and jurisdictional.
Okay. We worked with Texas A&M and their attorneys and everything to write it, so they did make us aware of the federal laws. So. Yeah,
so if you're more stringent than the federal laws, they don't prohibit you from enacting your own. It's just if you're less stringent, they'd still be held to the more stringent federal regulations.
Good. Okay. Good.
Any more questions?
I appreciate it. How can we get a copy of your slides?
It's on the desktop.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're going to update us on tomorrow's update?
Yes, as soon as I hear something. They have their Monday meeting, so I expect confirmation tomorrow. Because, like I said, everything's been on a hold, not just y'all's all 401. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks.
Okay, now we're gonna go to an update on Compound Harbor Bulkhead. Javier Solis, Jim Davidson.
How's it going, guys? Updated. We poured everything on the east side of harbor. Before Thanksgiving, we did one pour, and right after Thanksgiving, we did the other one. We are 85% complete with this project. I'm hoping to get to 90 before Christmas, and then all that will be left is going to be the bait shop. We are still waiting plans from the engineer showing us what we are going to be doing there. But Redfish Willie, we should be out of there before Christmas. We are, in that little process, we're probably like 80% too, right there. If we gather that just that section, All I'm needing is to go cut the concrete sheet house, what's left over that we got from last time we were here. That they should be there Thursday, cutting them off, and next week we should be forming for that concrete cap. God willing, everything goes well, weather helps us and doesn't come in. We should be out of there before Christmas, right before Christmas, and putting us at 90% complete after I get that done. On the east side, like I said, we did the 200-foot pours, one before Christmas, one right Christmas before Thanksgiving, and one right after Thanksgiving, which we should be out on that side. All we do have is dirt work and taking off the forms that we put on there to do the concrete on the south side. But that should all be done by the end of this week, dirt work and everything. Other than that, any questions?
Nope. Thank you again.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now we're gonna go to an update on Euclid Pump Station with John.
Good afternoon. Hey, brother.
What's up?
Okay, update on the Euclid. Both pumps are completely set in place. They've been set in place for a while now. I did run the vertical 100 horsepower motor last rain event we had, and it did very well, other than my timing was a little off, so we got a little bit of water on the road, but wasn't much. But once I got it going, it just cleaned everything out. The John Deere pump is it's all put together. One issue we got is that we used the same controller to control that engine. So it's an electronic type controller. So now we got to get a guy out of John Deere to come over and set the parameters for that pump. It does run, but it won't. The pump won't go over 1,400 RPMs, and that's an issue. But it all goes back to the little controller that needs to be reprogrammed to run that specific engines. There was some changes in the engines. I guess it's got to do with the injections or stuff like that. That's what I'm being told. And the controller won't let it go up 1,400 RPMs. We do have a guy coming in tomorrow to come and reprogram that controller. The last thing we got is our debris rack. We have had problems putting that debris rack because of the rain. Okay, that pit has to be completely dry, and I think this is going to be the third time we try installing this thing, second or third, and we're shooting for Thursday. So we were wondering how much rain we're going to get in today. Looks like not much. So Wednesday afternoon they're going to start pushing all that water back out, try to get it out of the ditch. And then Thursday morning, we're going to be in there putting the rack in. And that is the update. If you have any questions, I got my book. I'll write your question down. If I don't know the answer, and get back to you.
Does that new engine have any type of regen or DEF system or SCR filter on it?
No,
It doesn't. Good. Okay.
no. It doesn't have any of that fancy stuff other than the module that controls the engine.
Is there,
Anybody else?
is there going to be a change order because we have to get that John Deere gentleman in here to?
Absolutely, because we used an old controller. Okay, so yes, there is going to be some kind of charge, and I believe we're going to have to pay for it.
Do we have a clue?
Huh?
Do we have a clue how much?
No, usually they charge by the hour. I don't know what their hourly rate, and I'm thinking this guy's going to be here about 4 hours. And I might be wrong. Maybe he can get it calibrated real quick and get out of there.
If they're from Doggett, they're like $130 an hour, I think.
Huh?
If they're coming from Doggett, I think they're like $130
No,
an hour.
they're coming from this John Deere that used to be on Wheeler. That service guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
That's who's coming in. They've hooked up to our system before. Any more questions? No? Ram? Come on, brother. Throw me something out there. No?
Good.
I didn't need that. Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a great
John.
evening.
Now we're gonna go to the board and commission appointments for the zoning and board of adjustments.
There's 2 terms on this board that expired, and that's terms for Lisa Barker and Myron Schroeder. Mr. Schroeder is seeking reappointment and Ms. Barker is not. There's 3 individuals that submitted an application, and that's from Jared Doreen, Librado Ramos, and Richard Peters for consideration.
I make a motion to appoint, I can't get anything to come up here.
I can't either.
I think it's working, maybe. Jared Doring and Myron Schroeder.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go to the consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless the council member so requests. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I can't do because I wasn't here for the October 18th meeting. I make a motion that we approve the minutes of October 18th, and October the 25th, and the special meeting, October 25th special meeting, and November the 1st regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to.
Mary, just make note, I was not, I was absent on the October 18th meeting,
Okay,
but I'm aye to everything else.
okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna open up the public hearing on the annexation of Hogan Homes, Harbor Heights Phase 3, 0.384 acre tract. It is conducted public hearing to hear comments on whether the city should adopt an ordinance to annex an area of land on the request of the owner, said area commonly known as an abandoned right-of-way in Hogan Homes or Harbor Heights Phase 3, a portion of San Pedro County Appraisal District Property ID number 1040729, with a legal description being a 0.384 acre tract of land being out of and part of the 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of farm lots 1, 2, and 3, land block 75 of T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to the establishment map or plat thereof, as recorded in envelope 11, pages 21 and 22 of the map records in San Patricio County, Texas.
Yes, so this is an annexation request. It has to do with the Hogan Homes and Harbor Heights development, the Phase 3 portion, and it is currently not part of the Phase 3. It is separate, and it is also a street portion, but it has to be annexed first before the street abandonment can take place. So this portion of the phase is before you. Legal department, City Attorney Roxanne has looked at it critically, and it meets every legal requirement for annexation process. And Planning and Zoning Department has also reviewed all required regulations related to this application process. And we recommend that you approve this annexation. Thank you. Any questions?
This is the one that'll pretty much we go for this, so where we could do away with the potential Third Street connection, correct?
Yes. So the next case before you will be the abandonment of the Third Street portion, which will go up to Avenue A.
Thank you.
To finish it.
Any comments from the public? Okay, well, I declare the public hearing closed. Now we're gonna go to consider and take action to adopt an ordinance to annex an area of land on the request of the owner, said area commonly known as an abandonment right-of-way in Hogan Homes or Harbor Heights Phase 3, a portion of San Patricio County Appraisal District Property ID number 1040729, with the legal description being 0.384 acres tract of land being out of and a part of the 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of farm lots 1, 2, and 3, land block 75 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to the establishment map or plat thereof, as recorded in envelope 11, page 21 and 22 of the map records, San Patricio County, Texas.
Well, Well, I'll make a motion that we adopt an ordinance to annex an area of land on the request of Hogan Homes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go to open public hearing on case number 2112-02. A public hearing on request for right-of-way closure abandonment by Gallagher Builders Incorporated of a 3.84 acre tract of land being out of and part of the 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of farm lots 1, 2, and 3, land block 75 of TP McCampbell subdivision according to the establishment map or plat thereof as recorded in envelope 11, pages 21 and 22 of the map records in San Patricio County, Texas.
So this is a continuation of the portion that was closed earlier of the 3rd Street. You just approved the annexation of this location, and it is a street. What this application is about is to review this and take action on the closure and abandonment of this left out portion which you closed earlier from the previous portion. And this section, which is about 0.384, connects Avenue A. And so this application is requesting for a street closure of the 3rd Street portion to finish it up. Thank you.
Any questions, anybody?
I was unaware that, I'm looking at this map where there's a little red section.
Mhm.
There's a little red section up to Avenue A.
Yes.
We had, isn't this a part of this abandonment? Hadn't the city already done that a long time ago?
The one that was recently done or a long time ago? When?
Where that red area is, right there.
Yeah. It was, no. The one that you abandoned about a couple of months ago,
Right.
that is before this one. Yeah.
It's behind, well, if you
Behind it.
follow a straight line where that red line is, it's behind that.
Right.
Okay, I understand that. But right there where that red line is,
Uh-huh.
somebody has a fence around that area. Somebody has already taken over that property. If you go straight out of McClung,
Yeah.
across the street, there's,
Uh-huh.
somebody
McClung.
has a beautifully fenced-in area right there.
According to the records, it's not closed. There might be a fence there, but based on the county records, it is not owned.
Yeah, I do too. I know who owns it and I know who's got it.
Are you saying
That-
it is owned by somebody or
I
it
don't
is
know if
closed?
somebody owns it or they just put their fence around it.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah. But,
Yeah. Probably the owner, Gallagher, owns it and he has put the fence there, but it doesn't mean.
but anyway, I mean, yeah, everything's going through.
Say that again?
He was even gonna build a house there.
No,
but Yes.
he was going to build a house
He was going to,
and he changed his mind?
yes.
Oh, okay, that's good news.
That, and this all comes to, because the last time we had this conversation and this, about this, I was so confused over why we were abandoning
Yeah.
a section further back
Mhm.
when it had already been abandoned at the front end, where that red line is.
No.
Well, maybe not legally, but
Right.
somebody is taking it in.
Let's take it as that. Is anything, whether it's abandoned, is not legal. So,
Okay, all right, very good.
Are we sure of this?
oh, it's gone through legal department, so.
Well, you know how sometimes people set up things.
Yeah, that's true.
The title? But that portion should be a public street. So how can he say they want to build a building over there?
That's why I had, when you first started showing us these maps, I'm like, I didn't even have a clue that there could be a street there because this guy's got it all beautifully fenced off and mowed and.
So do you want us to do a further research into it? Or? Because
I think that may be a good idea.
No, the county map is showing a portion of 3rd Street up to Avenue A, so I don't know. Physically, somebody can put anything, it's a wooded area. So the fact that you are working on a property doesn't make it yours.
Right.
So I just don't know.
We're looking at
That would be an
information here.
encroachment.
We're looking at information here, and it shows it as abandoned. They can put a fence there if they want to, but that doesn't mean they own it.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Correct.
they put a fence, they mowed it, they cleaned it,
That's,
with intentions to build a house.
Thank you for cleaning it.
Yeah. But and that was done years ago. That was the whole reason why. I was like, why are we, what? There's a street there, huh? No? Okay. But anyway, I don't know what we need to do. Legally, I guess continue if it's all,
Yeah.
maybe he just put a fence up a little bit further over than he should have. I don't know.
I sure hope he surveyed what he bought.
So, did you know that 3rd Street comes up to McLung over there before, or never did?
I never knew that there was, I never knew that there could be a continuation of McClung to 3rd Street.
Oh, okay.
I never knew that could possibly
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Owned by those people.
So that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I declare this public hearing closed. Now we go to consider an act on ordinance of the city of Aransas Pass abandoning a 0.384 acre tract of land out of the land part of the 40-foot unimproved right-of-way northeast of farm lots 1, 2, and 3, land block 75 of T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to the establishment map or plat thereof as recorded in envelope 11, pages 21 and 22 of the map records, San Pedro County, Texas, as defined by meets and bounds and plat of said closure and providing for revision of said abandoned area of the abutting property owners.
I move to act on ordinance of the city of Aransas Pass abandoning a 0.384 acre tract of land out of and a part of the 40-foot unapproved right-of-way northeast of farm lots 1, 2, and 3, land block 75 of the T.P. McCampbell subdivision according to the established map or plat thereof as recorded in envelope 11, pages 21 and 22 of the map records, San Patricio County, Texas, as defined by meets and bounds and plat of said closure, and providing for reversion of said abandoned area to the abutting property owners.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go to the city manager, which is consider an act and resolution setting minimum bid requirements for tax resale properties for considerations by the city council and repelling all other conflicting resolutions.
Mayor and council, this was discussed at a work session, and right now, the minimum is 30%. And I believe this resolution is suggesting, per the discussion at a work session, 75% with infrastructure, 50% without infrastructure. And that's what you're being asked to consider at this point. I know Linebarger is here. I don't know if Linebarger has any comments on this or how that would impact the process, if at all.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening. My name is Robert Cuevas. I'm the office manager for Linebarger, Goggenberg, and Sampson. And Mr. Salcedo, the attorney, couldn't be here today. He had surgery a few weeks ago, and he's laid up in bed, unfortunately. So, but I did speak to him about this specific item on the agenda this afternoon, and we have no opposition. It's totally within your rights to pass this resolution for the resale properties, and we'll accommodate the council as much as we can. I mean, all we can. We'll adhere to the resolution and pass. So we have no opposition to it.
And these will apply to the ones going forward, not the ones that are already in process, correct?
That is correct. We'll make
Okay.
sure that any subsequent bidder is aware of the requirement if it's passed tonight,
Okay.
and we'll convey that to them, and then we'll go forward.
Do you know of anyone else that does this? Because I spoke with the mayor of Ingleside and Rockport today, just to get an idea of neighboring cities. And I did a little digging in Port Aransas and Portland, and I can't find anybody that does any kind of stipulation on a tax lot sale.
That is correct. The entities that you mentioned do not do this. I'm not aware of it. The only one that, to answer your question, honestly, is the city of Freer requires, Freer ISD requires a 10% down payment. So if they bid $1,000, then they need 10% of that. So, and they've got to pay that up front. But that's the only entity that I know are taxing out of our office in Corpus Christi. We handle a 15-county area that requires any kind of this kind of requirements.
I'm just kind of iffy on this because we've already had tax lots come through here that have been on the tax rolls 10, 15, maybe 18, 20 years. And I'd be nervous to see if that might throw another 5, 10 years possibly to keep them on the tax rolls and not drawing revenue for the city.
Well, I just know from sitting on the council that properties have been sold for like $100, $30. And most of them, you know, are just turning right around and selling it for a higher price than that.
Right.
So, I mean, if, you know, and the city is taking a lot of the, you know, taxes and things that are owed. The city and the school district are the ones that suffer the losses on those. And with the stipulation now of giving us a plan of what they're wanting to do, that's going to, you know, address Councilmember Knight's concern that, you know, we're going to steer them away. But properties being as hot commodity as it is now, people are going to be looking at buying properties.
I understand where you're coming from, and I understand your point also. That's why we let the council decide, the local authorities to decide on what they want to accept, because you know the community better than we do. So if you want to go this route, we'll certainly do it. We'll see how it goes. And if people balk at wanting to bid 75%, then we'll certainly let you know. But we won't bring anything to the council until that minimum threshold is met. Now, if for some reason you don't see any in a while, then you'll know the, as they say, the market will tell you exactly. That's exactly right. People they just won't bid.
And most of these individuals that are bidding live outside the city limits. They're investors coming from somewhere else. They're not inside folks that are doing this.
That's correct. That is, a lot of the bids, that's right, are coming from outside of the city of Aransas Pass, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you are right about the hot retail market, property market.
Yes.
It is. And-
Real estate market, I'm sorry, yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
And look
So-
at what San Pat and Aransas County have done. They've raised all the property values up and everything because they know there's no more land available, you know, so we got to be aware of that too.
And that's happening in a lot of
Every
areas.
place.
Yeah, we see that in,
Exactly.
we have tax sales and people are showing up in all our counties that we represent wanting to buy properties. So
Yeah.
right now, you're right, the real estate market is hot, so you can pass it and see how it goes, and you can always revisit it a year from now, I mean,
Sure.
if you want to do that, so. But we'll adhere to whatever is passed today, and we'll go forward.
Jan was right. The majority of all these tax sales are not being bought up by local people anyway.
That's what Vicki said, yeah.
Or Vicky, sorry. But, yeah, they're not making any more land, and
That's
it
correct.
is a hot commodity right now.
That's correct.
Certainly with all the industrial going up in Portland and everything, you know.
Exxon
We're
plant,
about
you
the only
got-
ones that have land left to build residential in,
That's correct, yeah.
so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stick around for the
Yes.
city.
Good evening, Council. Hector Rios, 1044 South Commercial. I'm kind of in agreement with you there, Jason, about, these things might not sell. Since y'all do have the power, the will to go ahead and change this either way, and y'all did spoke just right now about most of these people that have already acquired these properties have come in from out of town. So maybe might y'all consider anybody that is local, go ahead and stand maybe at our 30%, since, would that still be legal?
You can't do that, I don't think.
No, let's think.
If you're local, you
think.
can get it at a
This-
discount, that's what
Mr.
you're saying.
Do you know if that's possible, sir?
Well, I think probably you have to do it across the board.
Across the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Across
That
the
would
board.
be like saying if you're Puerto Rican, you're gonna get a discount, if you're Mexican, you're not, or, same thing. No, that's prejudice to me. Yeah.
Won't allow that? Okay. Do you think maybe y'all can consider, after I find me a piece of property on these? I've been looking for a piece of property myself, and, yeah, the 30% was a tad bit low, but I think 50 is getting up there. With the market, will reveal itself. We'll see if people are actually gonna buy this at that set market. But you are getting at the price of regular lots that are kind of ready to go, so with that being said, I appreciate your time very much. But I'd like to leave it the way it is right now. These properties have been on there for a long time, and if they were sold at $300 or $400 or whatever it was, it had to be approved first. So with that being said, I'm hoping that it'll kind of stay the same, but I respect any decision that y'all make. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Please keep in mind, though, that it's.
You have to come up.
You gotta come up.
I'm so sorry. Melinda Williams, citizen of Aransas Pass. We have to keep in consideration that it's 50% of the tax evaluation, not of market value.
Right.
So let's just, for those that do not understand all that, the tax evaluation is just for the tax base that you guys will pay. Okay, what you resell it for is a completely different ballgame and a different set of rules on how to evaluate that. So let's just keep that in mind, that you're getting 50% of something that you could probably get 150% on when you resell it. So,
50% is really good.
Pardon me?
50% is really good.
Absolutely, amen. Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you.
One other question, how would that affect, like struck-off properties that get struck off?
That's what this pertains to, anything that's struck off at the tax sale, then goes on the list, and now the opening bid will be, the bid that will come to the council will be 75%. If there's an improvement on it, at least of the current appraised value, and if it's a vacant lot, it's 50% of the current appraised value, is that correct?
Yes.
It has to meet that threshold.
Okay.
Regardless.
For us to consider,
Yeah.
for us to bring the offer to the council.
Right.
Okay.
But clarification on this, if you go to the steps of the courthouse, you can pay whatever you want to there.
Mm-hmm.
Does not apply to that.
Okay.
And this is only for properties that
Straight
will be struck off. Yes. Thank you.
You can pay you $100 there.
Well, actually, no, we have a bid.
At the courthouse. There you go.
Okay, what's the favor of the council?
Make a motion, are we making a motion, is that what we're doing?
Yes.
To approve the resolution setting minimum bid requirements for tax resale properties in Aransas Pass.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider an act on approving a resolution designating October 23rd annually as the Rudy Abrego Random Act of Kindness Day. And I'm gonna go straight up to read the resolution, where it says, whereas the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors is seeking support in their efforts to honor and celebrate the life of Mr. Rudy Abrego by recognizing a citywide day that inspires random acts of kindness. Whereas a citywide day to inspire kindness in our community by leading, educating, and encouraging compassion, gratitude, and joy as being the perfect way to honor Rudy Abrego, a truly selfless person who gave all the days of his life and whose only motivation was to help those in need and to make Aransas Pass a wonderful place to be a part of. Whereas Mr. Abrego was a lifelong resident of Aransas Pass for more than 53 years, During this time, Mr. Abrego dedicated countless hours volunteering in the community for various civic and nonprofit organizations, youth groups, and residents. He was known in the community for feeding the homeless with a hot meal or mowing lawns of unsightly, unclaimed lots. He oftentimes made his way around town to offer a helping hand to elderly residents who needed yard work or simply home repairs. Whereas Mr. Rudy Abrego served on the advisory committee to the mayor, a group that was tasked with working to improve, enhance, and beautify city streets and parks. Mr. Abrego received the Citizens of the Year in 2009, awarded by the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce. He served by the following boards: Aransas Pass Independent School District Board of Trustees from 2013 to 2017, and a proud supporter of our Panther students, Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce from 2013 to 2017, and 2020 and 2021, and served as chairman in 2016, president of the Aransas Pass Little League for 10 years, Aransas Pass Housing Authority from 2018-2020, and Aransas Pass Tri-County Christian Service Center Board from 2000 to 2021. Also, Mr. Abrego was the key logistics organizer for the Aransas Pass Shrimpery event for more than 20 years. Whereas Mr. Abrego demonstrated his passion for Aransas Pass with his selfless acts of giving back to the community he loved. His volunteer services went above and beyond the regular call of duty. Aransas Pass is a better place because of Rudy Abrego. Passed and approved the 6th day of December 2021.
I just want to say one thing. I have another meeting to go to, but I'm all in favor of this Act of Kindness Day. Anything that we can remember of act of kindness, such as Mr. Abrego did for this entire city, it would be a great thing. Have a good evening, and thank you very much.
I make a motion to approve a resolution designating October 23rd annually as the Rudy Abrego Random Act of Kindness Day.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now
Does
we're
Rose
gonna,
have any say to-
Rosemary, do you want to say something?
Okay. I do, but don't know if I'll be able to get it out. I came here tonight, I could have done this, I could have gotten anybody from my board to be here tonight, but I came over here and I shouldn't have drove, and I didn't drive, my son drove me. But I think it's very important for the community to realize how important Rudy Abrego was to this community and how impactful he was and how influential he was. You can see by the Christmas tree that's still not lit in the island in front of us how hard he worked and how dedicated he was to this community. And we're still struggling to try to find a way to fill in the gaps on where Rudy left off. And I promised him that I would always make him proud and that I would always keep going forward for him. And so this is the way that our Chamber of Commerce has decided that we want to recognize him, and we hope that you support those efforts.
Absolutely.
Donald, you were supposed to do this.
So those of us that have been involved with the Chamber of Commerce for a number of years, and of course Rudy served in so many different capacities, and one thing I was struck by was that last sentence in the second to the last paragraph where it talked about he was the key logistics organizer for Aransas Pass Shrimpery event for more than 20 years. So I made the mistake of volunteering to try to help him one year. Worst mistake of my life. I could not keep up with him. He was just so committed and so passionate, and so I really am thankful that you guys have considered and passed this resolution, because I think that his efforts and his example, seriously, I think many times many of us look for people that will inspire us, and Rudy was one of those guys that did on just so many levels. And he did not want attention. He did not do it for a pat on the back. He was a man of strong faith, but he loved his Lord. He loved his community. And I have to admit, he left some big shoes for us to try to fill. And we're finding out that one person is not going to be able to fill his shoes. We're going to have to do it by committee. It's going to take a village. It's going to take a group of us to to fill all the shoes and all the hats that he wore in the community. So thanks for considering this tonight.
It's already passed.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider an act on request from the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce to use Community Park, Public Safety Assistance and Protection, and to temporarily close Arch Street, Danford Street, and Highland Street from Friday, June 10th, 2022 at 4 p.m. through Monday, June 13th, 2022 at 1 a.m. for the 74th Annual Shrimpery event scheduled for June 10th through the 12th, 2022, with the carnival beginning on June 9th, 2022.
This is the same request we ask for every year so that we can start promoting shrimpery, permission to use the property and the allowance and the budget for the police department and public safety. Last year we spent $35,000 on public safety. We asked for 30, and we have no intentions of going back and asking for additional revenue when we have to go over. The safety and protection of our community and the people that come into our event is very important. It comes at a cost, so we're prepared to cover the rest of that cost. And also, we are keeping in mind that the parks are being enhanced and improved, and we are making plans to bring in more buses and try to locate more places in town to handle some of the extra flow that comes through Aransas Pass.
Okay. I'll make a motion. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve the request from the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce to use Community Park, Public Safety Assistance and Protection, and to temporarily close Arch Street, Danforth Street, and Highland Street from Friday, June 10th, 2022 at 4 p.m. through Monday, June 13th, 2022 at 1 a.m. for the 74th Annual Shrimpery event scheduled for June 10th through the 12th, 2022, with the carnival beginning on June 9th, 2022.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to
Thank you.
consider an act on request from the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce to temporarily close Commercial Street at the corner of Ryokum Street on February 19th, 2022 from 10
A.M.
Where to go? Okay. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the annual downtown
Party Gras.
with a
Party Gras.
Mardi Gras.
parade at 9 a.m. at the corner of DeBerry and ending at the corner of Wheeler Avenue.
It's my usual entrance. Good evening, council and mayor. So I'm talking on behalf of, it said chamber, but we're part of the Aransas Pass destination, or Destination Aransas Pass. So what we're going to be doing, if we could get the map up on, I don't know if they gave it to you.
Yep.
You guys have it,
We
I'm
got
sure.
it.
Okay, so what we're looking to do, or what the intentions are, first of all, is to close down that street for what we call almost like a block party. It's going to be a parade also down that way. It's themed on the Mardi Gras. The intentions are for our group is not only to bring the attention to the downtown area, but to Aransas Pass, show that we're capable of holding events like this. I know amongst the community and a lot of the boards that I sit on, we don't want to just be known for shrimpery. We're trying to get more activity, more things going out there. Another thing that the downtown destinations or downtown really needs is the attention, the foot traffic, people just going out there knowing that there's things out there. So this event will help produce that. In this event, we're also going to be having a gumbo cook-off as well. It is a 501c3 organization too. The intentions again are here tonight is to bring another event, something that can really showcase what the city has, bring attention to it, and it's during a time that we normally don't have a lot of activity as it is. So we don't want to really interfere with normal activities or traffic flow. We do have a good idea of how we're going to blockade both ends using the police department to help us coordinate that. On the Ryokum, on the sides, we'll be also barricading those with, I think, like bike racks and so on and so forth as well, too. Again, there's a lot that can happen down there. We're gonna, there's drinks, we got sponsorships, so a lot of things is flowing in. When we first started this, it started off as a small idea, but it slowly blossomed into something that we knew is pretty big, and we're really excited about the attention that it's already tracking. So I'm here to answer any questions, anything that you guys can possibly ask me, I'll answer.
I have a question.
Sure.
Back in 2017, they had kind of an art walk, and they had tents and vendors all downtown, and it was extremely successful. Are you considering adding that to this event?
Yeah, so from what I understand, yeah, that is part of it. There's going to be
Good.
vendors all the way throughout
Good.
the downtown area. So there'll be food trucks as well too available. So there's quite a lot more stuff. So what you saw back then in 2017 it'll be amplified.
Awesome.
Definitely.
We need to get the word out on food trucks, because the wrong information is coming to them. They're hearing they don't want to come to Aransas Pass because the annual permits are like over $400
Yes,
for a weekend event. So we need to get that straightened out so we have the right information for these food vendors.
And that's funny you say that, because I've actually heard similar
Yes.
setbacks before in other areas. And there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation on what it really is.
Sure,
So
correct.
actually, pushing the right stuff, because I think this community could really use some food trucks.
Absolutely.
It'd be great to have it. Any other questions, concerns?
Nope. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
I make a motion for the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce or Destination Aransas Pass to temporarily close Commercial Street at the corner of Ryokum February 19th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the first annual downtown party gras.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act on request from Ruben Salinas to waive the penalties and interest of weed lot liens for property located at 711 North Rive, lots 13 and 14, block 475, City of Aransas Pass, San Patricio County.
Mr. Salinas is not here today. He is in Austin, wasn't able to make the drive down, but he's gonna be available over the conference. So I'm gonna get him on the line.
Hello?
Mr. Salinas?
Yes.
Okay, the council's got to your item now.
Okay.
Mr. Salinas, can you explain exactly what you're asking in your own words, if you can hear me?
Yes, sir. We just found out about these liens, last week, and, we just bought the property in 2017 and didn't know anything about it. And, we've been totally cooperating with the city and the county anytime we've had any problems as far as, paying taxes on time. And, we did have, two different companies that were doing the yard for us. And, we got in trouble for that because one of them wasn't doing the complete, lot. So when they called, or when I received the notice, I right away went the next day and cut it myself. And we did talk to the guys that had been doing it. But, both times that they sent me a notice about the yard needing cutting, I took care of it right away. And, one time they did take me to court, and the judge, out of 3 fines, dismissed 2 of them because I did cooperate. And I'm willing to pay the liens, but if I could get some help with the interest, since it was like 10 years before we even bought the property. Hello?
Can I
Okay.
speak?
Yeah.
Mr. Salinas, this is Councilman Jan Moore, and I do understand that you purchased the property in 2017 at a tax foreclosure sale. But I also understand that that property was bought subject to the liens on that property, that you were informed that I have been told by the attorneys that whenever you buy a tax foreclosure property, that you are informed of these liens and you should be coming to the city council at that point to get them released early. So I'm wondering why it has taken you 10 years to come to the county and to the city, and then you want us to waive all of the interest on that. The city has spent money on these tax liens, so I think that the city should get some of that money back, not just the amount of the lien. I think that we should get some of the cost back.
I was not informed of any liens until last week. I called the law offices that took care of the auction, and I explained it to them, and they told me, well, I asked them to send me a copy, because I gave all the paperwork to my grandson, because I'm giving him the property so he can buy a home. So I didn't have any paperwork, but the law office in Corpus did send me copies, but I did not know anything about the lease till last week. And I just bought the property 4 years ago. I bought it in 2017.
I understand that. But these liens were on that property when you purchased it.
I did not know that, ma'am. I did not know that because I only paid, I paid $2,000 for the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had known, that there were 10,000, that I just got the city, I just got the taxes for this year, and the property's worth at $9,000. If I had known when I bought it that it had that much in it, there was no way I would have bought it. I would have just bought the house next to it. I paid $2,000, and it does. I would have not bought it for $13,000 when I bought the house for $10,000. But I did not know anything about the lease. When they called me, I thought they were talking about what the city said to me about the lawn needed cutting, and I explained that I did take care of that. I paid the one fine, and after that, we've been going down there, or we've been hiring locals there to cut it for us every other week. But I did not know about the lease thing.
Do you remember what
As a
law?
matter of fact, I looked into everything I could find on liens, because I always thought that if I was buying some and the property had a lien, that the liens had to be taken care of there or then.
Not on a tax foreclosure.
I was buying it outright.
Not on a tax foreclosure. Chief Blanchard, what is the history of this property? Because he said that he's had fines and everything that he's had to pay.
That's from the loan.
Yeah.
I can't tell you about the court stuff.
What's the total amount?
Recent stuff that we've done.
What's the total amount that he's asking for?
Yeah, what's,
He wants to just pay $34.21.
Right.
and the taxes are all caught up on it? All current?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They have been paid since January of this year. I think I made the last payment. And I just got the Gtek for this year. But since we're selling, I don't know if I want to pay them or not, because I'll have to pay them if the sale doesn't go through.
The total amount of just the liens itself total to, $3,400, about $3,400.
$3,421.
Now, when you
Yes, ma'am.
calculate the interest, it's just a little over $6,600.
Yes, ma'am. And we're willing to pay the 3,400, but, I mean, if I had known about it, I wouldn't have never let it amount to that much. It doesn't make sense, turn $3,400 to $11,000.
So you're willing to pay you're willing to pay the $3,400 if we waive the penalties?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure am. Although I don't feel, although I realized that it was almost 10 years before I bought the house, but yes, sir, I'm willing to pay the $3,400.
The only thing,
Absolutely.
the only thing recently on there was, July of 2021, I think is what he's referencing, the overgrown vegetation. He was given a warning. No
He
more
took care of it,
activity
he
other
said,
than
yeah.
that. Before that, 2019 disturbances, but involving people.
That were on his property. Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all are breaking up.
Well, I think there needs to be an additional amount paid besides just the lien, because the city has, it has cost the city to file those liens, and I know that was before you purchased it. Do you remember the law firm that helped you purchase this property, sir?
Yes, ma'am. It was, let me, I can look it up for you. I have the copies, on email. It was, just a minute, hold on.
That's what I'm wondering, is it Linebarger?
Yeah.
Oh, it's him.
It was,
Mr. Salinas was a Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm Robert Cuevas, I'm the office manager for the law firm over here. We don't represent the city in the capacity of collection of the municipal cleanup liens.
Right.
But I will tell you that you bought the property at a resale. It wasn't a first sale, it was at a resale. It was approved back in 16, I believe. And his bid was 2,100, so what was due was about 7,000. So he got about $5,000 written off of the bid that was accepted on this particular, I was looking at the bid analysis. So he paid 21, but 5,000 was written off total city, school, and county. Now, as far as the knowledge of the city municipal liens, I don't know what the conversation was, I can't speak to that. But I can tell you at the sales that we conduct on the courthouse steps, we do inform the the bidder of the taxes that are gonna be paid with the purchase of the property. And since we don't represent the city that's, sitting, a lot of cities we don't represent in this capacity, but we do tell them, the bidders, that there could be city liens on the property. And those become your responsibility after the deed is filed. And it's up to you to go talk to the city officials to see how to pay it in full, or work out a payment plan.
Exactly.
That way, you can decide how to deal with the collection of those liens. We're not gonna represent any kind of reduction, or any kind of payment plan, but that will be up to y'all, since we don't represent you. So we make that announcement in every sale in every county we do. That way, there's no, so let me just say, on this one, I know it was a resale, I don't know the conversation, I don't know what happened, went back and forth, I can't speak to that, but I know that if I speak to someone about purchasing property, I always mention to them, keep in mind, you need to make sure you ascertain the location, the deeds, the title history, and then, of course, if there's any, if it's in the city of Aransas or Portland or wherever it may be, to make sure you satisfy yourself of those liens, we'll talk to them, see if there's a lien on the property. So that's what I do. But on this one, I didn't speak to him about.
So how much did you say, did he get a discount of 5,000 and what?
About $5,000. He bid
Okay.
2,100. There was about 7,000 owed in taxes to everyone. I can tell you specifically for the city. If you give me a minute, I can pull it up. What was collected, what was due to the city at the time, his bid was accepted. If you give me a second here. Here we go. Okay, at the time of the offer that was accepted, the city of Aransas was at $1,963.01. What was paid based on his offer of 2,100, after costs were paid, the city of Aransas Pass was paid $454.43. Okay? Aransas Pass was paid $358. The school district. The county, Aransas County, because this is in Aransas County, was paid $705. A navigation district in Aransas County was paid $81.64. So total, he would pay about $5,000 was written off after the bid was accepted. Just want to let you know that.
Yes, sir. I have no experience in this. This is the first time I ever do an auction, and it's the only thing I've ever done in an auction. So I wasn't familiar with that. And if I heard them say something about liens, I don't remember. Because I would have asked if I knew it was my responsibility. But I thought when I won the bid, that's it. I thought I had bought it outright, if I found out everything, I found afterwards, or this last week, that it was my responsibility to find out, but I didn't know. I always thought, I'll take cash, it's mine, anything that happens to it now is my responsibility. I didn't know I was responsible for something that happened to back before I bought it. But this is my first experience buying an auction, and I did not know, and I do not remember I don't even remember the lock one being there when we bought it. I just remember the guys from the city coming out, and we did learn a little bit from other people that were there bidding. They were walking us through it, but I had no experience in this before.
What do y'all think?
Roxanne, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What does it cost to file a weed lien? What is the city's cost of that?
About $28. Yeah. Okay. I'm good with the 3,400.
So am I.
I'd like to go to 3,500 and at least get our filing fees back. That would be me.
That's fine. Yeah, it's good.
Ask him if he'll settle for 3,500. Mr. Salinas, if we go ahead and we release the liens on the property, are you willing to pay the city the 3,500, not 3,421?
3,500 is fine with me.
Damn, I should have gone for 4,500.
You should.
Instead of,
Okay. Okay, we're
Always
good.
go bid higher.
All right.
Start at
Thank you,
5.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Favor of the council?
Hello, Mary?
Yes, okay. They're getting ready to vote, Mr. Salinas.
Oh, okay, I thought they had already decided on it. I'm sorry. So they're saying, they'll lower it to 35?
Yes, I'll contact you tomorrow.
Hang on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mary. Good night. Bye.
I make a motion to reduce the weed liens on Ruben Salinas property at 711 North Rife to $3,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, thank you very much. I just wanted to say a couple of things. We are proud sponsors of the Shrimpery every year, so that was on the
Yes, you
agenda
are.
earlier, so. Toot our horn, so to speak, and Merry Christmas. And have a
Yes,
Happy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas
Same
to
to
you.
you,
Have a
yes.
good holiday.
Likewise.
Two.
Thank
And
you.
we're always available next year, so if anything else comes up, and we just need a copy of the resolution so we can go forward on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have-
Thank
Good seeing
you.
you.
Drive
Always glad,
safely.
always good to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consider an act on renewing agreement with Family Counseling Services for an employee assistance program beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Mayor and council, we do this each year, and if you've noticed from the memo you have, a number of visitations in the past year has gone down considerably. First year very high, it just varies. But the agreement itself is virtually the same as in the past years.
Well, I make a motion that we renew the contract with Family Counseling Service for an employee assistance program beginning January 1, 22, ending December 31st, 22.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act on extending the facility lease agreement between the City of Aransas Pass and Roland Pena from December 4th, 2021 to December 31st, 2021.
Mayor and council, and I believe Mr. Pena's here, but I believe the reason for the request is the upcoming tournaments and such that are necessary for additional dates. Mr. Pena, would you like to address that?
They just want to extend all the gentlemen, and they're out there playing now. We've had a good turnout, but the weather wasn't too cooperating with us this year. We had a lot of rain, more than normal. The fields are in pretty bad shape, considering all that they've sat there for 4 years. What was it, since the hurricane? They've been kicking my butt. I mean, when it rained, I had to go pump them and try to put dirt, try to squeegee them out. It wore me out. But anyway, we had a summer season, usually our best time. We had 19 teams out there this year. That's quite a few teams. We had co-ed, 2 men's teams out there. We had quite a few men's teams. Right now, I have 10 right now. I want to play another season. Come here and address y'all that they see what y'all think. I'm all for it.
We should have those fields straightened up here pretty quick.
That's what Fernando was saying.
Yeah.
It's been
They're
tough,
on
man. I'm telling you right
schedule,
now, man. I've done it for 20 years. This year was horrible. I mean, I had to pump it. I had drag the mud out of there, try to put dirt back in it, and the summer season usually lasts, it's usually good. I ended in about a month and a half. It lasted 2.5 months, and next season it lasted 2 months, so it was kind of drugged on. But anyway, they want to play. There's 3 teams out there, Keywood, and we got some local teams from Sinton and Rockport. I think they're pretty much in the surrounding areas, but I hope y'all approve this and just let me do this one season. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know, when y'all thinking about doing some upkeep on them? Is it coming pretty soon?
Yeah, when's that gonna start?
Yeah, Fernando's got when
I know.
I don't know the exact timeline on when they're gonna do the actual fields themselves, but I think we just awarded out both of them, the pavilion and actual concession stand. We bid it out for the engineering part of it, and that shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, the concession stand, Mayor, it's in pretty good shape. It just needs the doors. The doors are rotted because it's right there by the salt. I mean, I did the painting and stuff like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I'm thinking the fencing. I did the fencing there too. Maybe, I don't know when it was before the storm. I know that, but the building's in good sound shape. It's the doors that are rotten. The hinges, the bathroom doors, the locks they're corroded. But I mean, y'all would use the money more towards the fields and stuff, the lights, the wiring, the salt water. They're so close to the water. There are a lot of them that need to be replaced. Because I actually trenched an area because they were rotted. I think Mr. Gomez came in there and had somebody come in there after I trenched it out, and they laid all the wire in. We had no problem since. But there's still issues out there, and like I say, the people out here want it. Like I say, this has been a good year, but it's just we never had 19 teams out there. It's usually 13, 14. I guess everybody was cooped up all them months.
Right.
They were just dying to come out.
Yes.
But yeah, if y'all can get these fields, I think we'll have even better turnout. So
that should be better.
Yeah.
They should get good.
And they want, like I say, they're the one asking me. I'm usually want to break by this time, but they want us to. Well, can we do it all year round? I said no. I got to take a break.
Got to rest,
So,
right?
Yeah, I just want to do this last. Usually, we're playing double hitters out there, and we should be done by. I'm going to say, if weather permits, by the end of the month. If it doesn't, give me a week or two, or a week after that, and we'll finish the playoffs and stuff like that, and we'll be out of there. And y'all come and do y'all's whatever y'all need to do.
Okay.
Sound good?
All right.
Good, thank you.
Do you think it's only the doors? Do you think it's only the doors?
I disagree with that assessment on the concession stand. I've been out there. The floors are falling apart. The bathrooms have.
Well, there's 2 different ones.
Yes.
2 different ones.
There's 2 different ones that we're talking about.
Because I know what.
Yeah, I know, but the statement was that the concession stand only needs doors, and that's not true.
Well, the little league one needs to be
There's
blown
different.
up. The
We
other
have 2
ones
different
need
concession
doors.
stands. We have one at the softball field, and we have the one at the Little League fields. The one at the Little League fields is the one that's in pretty bad shape. The one he's talking about is just the
Okay,
doors.
all right, as long as that was
Yes,
clarified.
it's 2 totally different buildings.
The one at the Little League field.
No, it's 2 totally different
I know,
buildings.
because you were referring to doing the concession stand, and he took it that you were doing the adult, but you're talking about the Little League field, so
Correct.
not the concession stand for you on the
No,
adult.
No, he's talking about, the concession stand he's talking about is the one
I
at the
know which one
softball
he's
fields,
talking
which
about.
was.
Yeah, I know which one.
That was redone 5 years
Yeah.
ago, and all it needs is the doors.
I know, but you mentioned we were doing the concession stand, but you didn't specify Little League.
Oh, my bad.
I make a motion to extend the facility license agreement between the City of Aransas Pass and Roland Pena from December 4th to December 31st, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go to.
I'll donate doors.
Okay.
Spirit of Aransas Pass will donate some doors.
Yay, thank you.
We'll get them turned out.
Good.
Okay, now we'll go to discuss, consider, and provide direction for the 2022 Fall Feast.
Mr. Mayor and Council, and I believe the Community Enrichment Director is here, but there are 2 questions. This is a follow-up to the work session that was held on this issue. There are 2 questions we need direction on. Number 1 is, do we continue to limit The attendance to Aransas Pass residents only, question one. Question two, do we have it catered, or do we go back to the volunteer process? Those are the two questions. We need direction from you so we can get moving and preparation for next year. Anything to add to that, Caitlin?
No, he about wrapped it up. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I can certainly flesh any of those ideas out if you'd like for discussion. We did discuss it at length in a wrap-up meeting, and a lot of the team had some really good ideas, and I did continue to talk about it with some other department members that were not at the wrap-up meeting. So if you do have any further questions, I'm here.
I thought Vicki made a very good point the last time when I said residents only, and she said, yeah, but they invite their families from Ingleside and everything, and that's true. So I don't know how we target down to at least one person is a resident, bringing in their families or not, but I think we do need to open it up a little bit more than just the residents.
Just open it up to everyone, not necessarily target any particular one.
If I may add on that, it'd be very difficult to enforce.
That's what I would think.
So it's either, in my opinion, it's going to have to be either all or nothing.
Open it up. I would open it up then.
And I would be looking into the volunteers to see if we can get people to, you know, some clubs to help with the cooking, provide, donate, you know, instead of going catering.
On that topic, we did discuss the potential of bringing in a little more sponsorships to offset some of those costs to us, and we can be creative in, you know, how we include them in local advertising, et cetera. So that's definitely an option.
Mm-hmm.
There's a benefit to hiring a caterer, and that is these are food trained and certified professionals, and the food would be prepared in a manner that's and at a location that's, you know, being maintained regularly. The Civic Center does not have a full-time food preparation or service staff, and then that would be, as you mentioned, where we would look for volunteers. I understand in the past that we did at least ask that the volunteers, and we did enforce that they were food certified. However, there's a lot to be said about relying on training versus volunteer, and I've been told the volunteer meals were delicious, so that is not a discredit to anyone's skills. It's just my thoughts were, and several folks' thoughts were, is this something that we want to serve hundreds of people based on, you know, a kitchen that's not a full-time professional staff?
In my opinion, I didn't like the presentation. You have a box, take it. I didn't like that. I don't like that presentation. I think it makes it more family oriented if you have someone there serving, or some, you know, and we're starting off with plenty of time. I'm thinking we have the time now to start. I mean, I don't know how to cook, but I can be there to, I will help, I will sponsor, I will buy, donate money, but I just think it gives it more of a family atmosphere rather than here's a box lunch, take it.
And an option is we can certainly consider if we do have the food catered. As the clock ticks, hopefully we continue to move further away from COVID precautions and shutdowns. And so, you know, having food catered does not necessarily equate to boxed meals. That can be something that we still serve. The whole team from Butter Churn who catered it this last time was present for the duration of the event. They were very helpful with handing out the boxes, and much in the same setup, we could do a buffet style. So we have options still if we went with catered to make it seem more home-like.
That was my opinion. I didn't like the box going out. Whether it was volunteer or professional, just that presentation right there wasn't good.
Understood, which is another point. I think a lot of the community did find a lot of value in being able to take some of those plates to go. And I spoke with some representatives from the police department about potentially creating a registration system for the disabled or the shut-in community members where we could still meet those needs and potentially bring the plates to them. So even if we went with a full set where it is a buffet style service, we might still consider doing a portion to go for guests who are not yet comfortable.
Yeah. Because they did give out plates the last before.
Yeah,
if
because
you wanted to go.
Because I did hear that people liked the fact that they could come in and grab a meal and go on home. I heard very positive things about it this year.
And I have worked, I've done buffet style caterings where it's set up for dine-in, but there is an option for to-go, and we just have that set up close by, so we could accommodate both, I'd imagine.
step would be honored to deliver meals to shelters.
I think that's great. I really do.
We can probably even use the firemen to kind of help out, to drive y'all. That'd be
I know that-
good.
What'd you say?
Just so you know, one year,
And,
my patrol captain actually spent some time with the family. Feeding meals, so
Right.
It means something to the guys.
Right.
So, hearing that you want to open it up now, if I'm going the wrong direction, I'm trying to read you, open it up once again to everybody. That's what I'm hearing at this point. On the catering issue versus volunteers issue, I'm not getting a reading from you on that. What I'm hearing mixed points of view, kind of leaning toward the way we used to do it. Where I kind of see it leaning, but I could be wrong here. We just need
Well, I
direction.
was glad to hear Kaylin's example of if it was catered, it could still be a family style, buffet style, and they would serve you.
Yep.
I like that better.
I do too.
The whole event is in the spirit of giving. And I think it would be better. We don't have we had a wonderful guy cook all those turkeys before, and I haven't heard anything about him and his staff wanting to redo that. That's a great undertaking now. We understand that, and he put a lot of time, money, and effort with his staff doing that.
But that's fine with me if we really want to do it like that. I don't care. It
But
makes me no difference.
I agree with what she, I have to agree with what she says. If we cater it, your people are very professional too, but not everybody back there that was helping cook and stuff were as professional as your staff.
You need to be aware of this issue also, and Caitlin, tell me if I'm incorrect on this. But the price, when we were doing it, the original way was around $3,500. This time, the price was around $6,500. That's after a deduction, and we can't be assured that that deduction will occur again. We don't know. We've not talked with any caterer about that. We would have to bid it out too. So that's something to keep in mind also. And those are general numbers. Well, in the case of the caterer, that's pretty close. In the case of the $3,500, that's generally what we budgeted for this event in a regular year. So just keep those costs in mind also.
And not having Sarah to coordinate all the rest that y'all didn't do, all the rest.
Yeah, but she can do it.
She can do it.
I'm pretty sure she can do
Caitlin
it.
could do it.
She could.
But we set a
But
budget that's.
you have connections, right?
It would be an enormous undertaking, as I think everyone understands. And I applaud the teams for doing that from a volunteer standpoint in the 7 years past. That, as I mentioned earlier, that is something that we would like to explore more in depth is sponsorship opportunities. As you know, there's a specific attorney who hosts annually a very large turkey give out. So there's a lot of folks out there very community minded, and I don't have any expectations at this point that the city of Aransas would need to pay that full cost, even if it was more. From my understanding from the caterer, even at a discounted rate, it was beneficial to them as well as community members, so they were grateful for the opportunity. So yes, we could augment some of those costs by locating sponsorship opportunities.
I think that's what we have to do, set a budget, say maybe $7,500 and go out for sponsorships to that level.
Good idea.
And so,
HEB would do what, 25? Or HEB would donate all the turkeys?
I don't know, but I mean, if we start early enough,
Yeah, but I
there
believe
could be a
that
lot.
that's
Yeah.
pretty much, I think it was $2,500. That HEB would donate, or they would donate the turkeys.
I know HEB, Walmart, and several other large grocers do have a community registry that cuts off in January. So pending this sort of meeting, we can petition to be added to their annual budget for, X amount that we request, and they can meet us at the full request or not.
Walmart usually does not support this community for some reason.
Good to know.
Okay. All right. But, oh, Ram just said he'd donate the turkeys. What'd you say?
No, it's not.
I said, we're gonna get you back on stage so you and Mike can do the same
Oh.
performance.
Problems?
So we still don't.
Right, Donald?
I would say explore both options, the volunteers and the other one. 'Cause
Yeah.
Looks like we're not gonna get together
Yep.
on this part.
I
Both-
think you're right.
Both options, volunteers to cook, and then
Yeah.
the caterer, the cost
Yeah,
on
we'll
that.
check it
I
out.
would,
Right.
I would explore volunteers, people get involved, rather than just one business, volunteers,
The Chamber
looking
of
for
Commerce
that.
got pretty good at doing cornbread.
Kaylin, what we're
Yeah.
hearing is, at the next meeting, then, we'll bring back, you wanna open it up. That, I think,
Yes,
we're
we
picking
want to
up.
open it up to the same amount of meals that we had this year. Limited,
Yes.
limited meals.
So, I'm sorry?
A limit on meals, you know.
So-
How many did we order this year?
I agree with that
It was
also.
750.
7,500, okay, and that's what we limited.
750.
750, I'm sorry. Yes, and we limit it to 750 again
Yeah.
next
Oh,
year.
okay.
So my only question with being able
Because
to
you have to stop
present to you a
someplace.
solid recommendation for both options is that, as we just discussed, we may not have guarantees from sponsors in a week's time that they're
Correct.
able to approve that. So what we could bring before you is potential quotes, and that's another thing if we were to go out for bids for restaurants for who could cater this and at what cost. That would be another option that I don't know how quickly.
Why don't we move it to
I was gonna say
first meeting in
January, or
January?
the second week in
Or
January.
second week in January,
Yeah.
but no
Plenty of
later
time.
than January.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I
Right.
understand.
But
Yes.
Because
by
I-
then, hopefully, we can get a food count, a list of the exact amount of food that it will take to do the 750.
Yes.
And that way, we'll know the difference between one side or the other as far as money is concerned.
Good, good. I think that's our direction for now, Kayla. Very good.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Now we're gonna go to information technology. Consider and take action to approve an antenna site agreement between the city and GTEK Communication and the City of Aransas Pass Water Tower at 235 East Wilson Avenue, Aransas Pass, Texas, for $1,000 a month.
Okay, let me kick this off, and then I'll ask IT department to come forward. But this is an issue where we're looking for assistance as far as a lease agreement for a Wi-Fi antennae on the city water tower. We've been talking with Gtek, they're willing to work with us. This is all a result of an issue that was a problem for us at a particular location in town. And then Roxanne and I have been talking today. We kind of separated those issues now, and we're going to address the potential violation as far as where antennae were located. It should not have been located because it was a code violation. We're going to address that separately. In the meantime, there's an agreement here that deals with the agreement with Gtek for them to provide the communication services we need. That's your opening to come forward and give a very eloquent presentation.
I'm known for my eloquence. So this is basically the same deal we had with System 7. I don't know if you guys remember that. This was several years ago. That deal fell through because COVID hit their business really hard. And so we kind of lost that deal. This is an almost identical deal with just a different company. It's the same thing. And they're a little bit more local too than System 7 was mostly San Antonio. Gtek's pretty big, so they're pretty heavy here. There's a lot of Gtek customers in this town. One of the advantages is this will also improve the connectivity for the citizens in this town who use Gtek. It should improve their wireless connections as well. What the city gets out of it is the maintenance of our long-distance Wi-Fi that connects the pool, the aquatic center, wastewater treatment plant, Con Brown, the Harbor Master Building, or whatever you call it now, and some of the parks that have video surveillance. those connections will be maintained by this long-distance Wi-Fi bridge. Any questions? And looks like I've put everybody to sleep.
You and David have been working on this for a while.
The whole IT department has been working on this for several years, actually.
So we're not getting any money for this.
Right, but we're not having to pay money either.
So are we gonna get antennas put on the water tower, some more than the ones we already have?
Actually, we actually built this system, was 6 months ago, maybe, we put it up. And if you didn't notice those antennas, basically they're just taking over maintenance of those antennas. They might add a few more, but they're like this big. You can't even see them from the ground almost. They're pretty small. I actually wrote into the lease specifically with you in mind, sir, because I know how you feel about that. So that was one of the things that we made sure that we're going to control all of that. They can't just put up whatever they want. They have to come to us and make sure that
All of a sudden, it's not just gonna be.
should not be the case. Not at all. Not while I'm.
It's gonna turn blue and the antennas are gonna be white.
Not while I'm.
What happened to purple?
No.
Does that involve anything at all with the Public Works building? They're okay where they're at?
They have a wired connection.
Okay.
There, it's fiber.
Okay.
Should we have another weather-related storm? And those, yeah, exactly. Those antennas are damaged. Is there a backup plan for them to bring in some kind of?
Like a cow, like cellular on wheels, that kind of
exactly.
thing. They have, one of the advantages with Gtek is they have locations all over town already.
Right.
And so they've got a little bit of built-in redundance. So if they lose one tower, the other ones can sort of pick up the slack until they can get something back in. But losing the water tower,
We're not talking about losing the water tower.
would be.
We're not saying that.
We're
saying
back to
losing the antenna.
Losing the antennas. These antennas are actually, believe it or not, pretty small, and they have a very small wind load.
Okay.
So they can handle a tremendous amount. In fact, we had a lot of ours that were the same kind of gear that survived Harvey.
Okay.
So.
That would be my
The only
concern.
reason we went down last time was because of the water tower.
Yeah.
Well, that's different.
We
Yeah.
were up and running that whole time until
Yeah.
the tower.
Until it went kaput.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right.
Any other questions, comments, complaints? It's not $1,000 a month.
Right.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve an antenna site agreement between the City of Aransas Pass and Gtek Communications on the Aransas Pass water tower.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna go to citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for the matter that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and record, your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Mary, any comments?
We have a gentleman getting up that wants to talk.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say one thing. I'm Tom Duran. I'm at 5008 Bigelow down in the harbor and everything. And I want to say something to Miss Abrego and everything about a kind act that your husband did for me back in the old days when we were first building the tiki hut. I went in there and I said, Mr. Abrego, do you have any telephone poles? And he says, well, I might have a few. And he said, do you have a wrench? And I said, yes. Anyway, he was a good dude, and he helped us out and everything like that. And I wanted to say publicly how much Handsome Sailor really appreciates what he did for us. Thank you.
We all do. Thank you.
Did anyone, I think someone on the council, Jason?
Yeah, I was talking to Carrie about this, about the dog park lighting, and there was a pretty good thread that popped up on Facebook this weekend, and it's like I've spoke with you, something I never thought about, and I thought it was a good idea about looking into putting some lighting out at the dog park.
Yeah, we were discussing that. We talked about it a little bit.
We can look into that, and come back to you and let you know what we come up with on that.
Gary, on the next workshop, I would like to put a discussion on some of these 25-foot lots, and I've got a slide presentation and stuff. We stayed in a tiny home.
Okay, good.
And so.
Excellent. Mary, we'll put that on the next work session agenda then.
Next year.
And that's gonna be on the last Monday of December, right?
We haven't scheduled it yet. If you guys have a date, we'll be happy to send it.
I have a date every night with my handsome husband.
Well, Lottie.
Don't know that. Too much information. Anybody else? Any questions online?
And the other thing is we can pass the Christmas tree and all that to the city employees, can go out there and decorate the front of the city hall and decorate the Christmas tree and put all that up.
We'll just put it on the workshop.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now we're gonna go into executive session, section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act, to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice in a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to Compound Harbor Lease, Handsome Sailor, and Waterline Easement City by the Sea, and it's 7:36. We're gonna reconvene in open session to consider and take action, if any, on any item discussed in executive session, and it is 8:44.
I make a motion to approve an engagement letter with Herrera Law and Associates to represent the city in the use of an easement to provide water utility services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay, yay.